Next is Mr. Paul Zerzan.
Can you hear me now? Okay. I'm here because I'm a teacher, and I've devoted my life to trying to improve people's minds. Now, marijuana, like alcohol, is a poison. It poisons the mind. It does not make people smart, okay? It makes people stupid. That's why they call it dope. Now, mostly what I'm going to talk about are things that you said on the radio this morning. I heard your whole spiel, but I wasn't able to call in, okay? But one thing you said was that people have died from alcohol, but nobody's died from marijuana, okay? Well, if you're talking about overdose, perhaps that's true. But most of the alcohol deaths are not overdose, alcohol poisoning. They are indirect results, drunk driving, damage to the liver, damage to the heart, okay? So saying marijuana has never killed anyone is like saying tobacco has never killed anyone. Nobody dies from a tobacco overdose. Nobody has smoked themselves to death. But people die from cancer, which is caused by smoking, okay? So people have died from marijuana, okay? A study published by the University of Colorado School of Medicine, May 2014. Let me repeat this so you can write this down and look it up on the internet. A study published by the University of Colorado School of Medicine, May 2014, found that the proportion of marijuana-positive drivers involved in fatal car crashes in Colorado increased dramatically since the commercialization of medical marijuana in the middle of 2009. This is the December 2014 National Institute on Drug Abuse found marijuana is increasingly detected in fatal vehicle accidents. Okay? We see this in Colorado and we see it in California. Okay? Since the legalization of recreational marijuana, opioid abuse and also meth abuse has greatly increased in both of those places. Okay? According to the Tribune News Service, September 11th, 2018, and the figures I give here refer to the figures of 2017. Figures are not out yet for 2018. Okay, in Colorado, 1,012 people died of accidental overdoses in 2017. This is 100 more than 2016. Okay, more than half of those people, 560, died from opioids. This is a five-fold increase from 20 years ago when marijuana use was not legal in Colorado. Okay? Again, on the internet, Tribune News Service, September 11, 2018. Okay? Now, according to an article by John Ingold in the Denver Post, April 4, 2018, more people in Colorado died in the year before from drug overdoses than any year in Colorado's history. Drug overdoses killed more people than car crashes, okay? So since recreational marijuana was legalized in Colorado, deaths from hard drug use are skyrocketing, okay? This is in complete contradiction to what you said on the radio this morning, okay? Now, you go on the internet, I can find sources that back you up, and these are the pro-marijuana crowd, okay? But this is newspapers, okay? According to an article by Mary Shin in the Durango Herald, Durango, Colorado, March 3rd, 2019. I repeat, the Durango Herald, March 3rd, 2019. As drug use in Colorado rises, so does the spread of syphilis. The same thing is happening in California. Both Colorado and California are suffering from syphilis epidemics that follow the hard drug use, like opioids. And opioid use is attributed to the increase, okay? You went on great length about the wonders of commercial hemp production, okay? Now, I have 3 degrees. One is a degree in history from University of Washington. Another is a degree in agronomy from Washington State University. The 3rd degree is in speech therapy from San Jose State. And so I am an expert on the history, for the people in this room, I'm probably the biggest expert on the history of hemp as a commercial crop, okay? And it's not economic. It wasn't prohibitionists that ended hemp production. It's an extremely labor-intensive crop. Fiber. The 2 most labor-intensive fibers are silk and hemp. Okay? Silk is high value, so it pays for itself. But hemp is not. Hemp was used for rope production until better sources, the cannabis hemp, okay? When sisal hemp from the banana trees of the Philippines came out, or jute in India became commercially available, then cannabis hemp was no longer economical because it's only used for rope, and better rope and cheaper rope is made from other fibers. Again, the problem is labor. Now, this was, in the U.S., this is why hemp production in the U.S. dropped until World War II. When our sisal hemp production from the Philippines was cut off, then they started growing cannabis hemp because they needed a lot of rope for the war effort. And as soon as the war ended and we could access better fibers from other places, then hemp production dropped. It is not economical. Currently, hemp is grown legally and commercially in Australia since 1998, Canada since 1998, France since 2003. France has the largest acreage of hemp production in Europe. Russia has been continuous growth. Until the 60s, hemp was a big crop in Japan and Russia because labor was cheap. In both places, hemp production dropped off because it is not economical. Okay? The UK since 1971. 1971, they've been trying to grow it commercially. And all of these places, it's an experimental crop. People hear about how, oh, it's a wonder crop, and it is not. Okay? The US, it has been illegal without a permit since 1970. Okay? So you can grow it with a permit in the US, but before 1970, you didn't need a permit. But it's not economical. And the production in Europe, they try to make, hemp clothing. Believe me, you don't want to wear hemp clothing. Burlap is more comfortable. The production of Europe and Australia, all of these places, the product is used almost exclusively as bed straw for horses because they can't sell it for any other use. It is extremely labor intensive. They've tried to come up with machinery that can make it processed cheaply. And Switzerland invested a lot of money in this. But it is not an economic crop, okay? Now, so I ask you to look these things up and look at the sources on the internet. You'll find out that marijuana has no medicinal value other than like medicinal whiskey. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel good by poisoning your brain. It is a poison. It was made illegal for some very good reasons. And one of the things is, it is a gateway drug. In 2001, medicinal marijuana was legalized in Vancouver, Canada. And they had the law had all these regulations and all these ways to control it and tax it and maintain it. Well, the world didn't fall apart overnight. But slowly in Vancouver, recreational use, even though it was illegal, started taking over. If you're a cop and someone's got a little bag of marijuana and they say it's for medicinal use, you could get in a lot of trouble and waste a lot of time if you arrest them and find out actually it is. So they turned a blind eye to recreational use, and it got out of hand. Pretty soon, marijuana coffee shops were operating in the open with signs, even though it was illegal in Vancouver, Canada. They called Vancouver Vansterdam, like Amsterdam, all right? Well, as always happens, things that affect our brain adjusts. You take one aspirin and it helps you because you got a headache. In 3 years, you maybe have to be taking 2. 5 years, you may have to go to Advil or Excedrin. All products that affect the body's pain threshold, the body modifies it. It's very important that our body feels pain. So if we're taking medicine or opioids or whatever, our body will adjust. We need stronger and stronger doses. Even recreational stuff. You drink beer, over time you switch to martinis and scotch. People drink wine, they switch to cognac. All right? The same thing with marijuana. You're selling marijuana, you have competition. And so those who come out with stronger strains are going to be able to sell their product better. Then people with a stronger strain, then it goes to resin concentrates like hashish, okay? And then not all pot smokers, but many of them find out it doesn't give them enough kick. And they start going to the opioids. All right? And so this happened in Vancouver, Canada. It didn't happen overnight. It happened since 2001. Now, every year in British Columbia, 1,500 people die of overdose deaths, heroin mixed with fentanyl. But every single one of them started out with marijuana. Marijuana, just like aspirin or beer, it is a gateway drug to stronger things. And this is happening in the US. The opioid crisis is following marijuana use, even in states where marijuana is not legal, because the idea that, oh, it's safe, oh, we can control it, spreads throughout the country. So marijuana use is increasing throughout the US. And the biggest danger is to our children. We already have huge problems on this island because of alcohol and drugs, legal or illegal. They're here. Okay? We're like the third highest per capita marijuana consumption in the world. Number one is Jamaica. Jamaica is the murder capital of the world. Believe you me, we do not want to be Jamaica. So claims that marijuana is harmless, oh, chill out, oh, it's going to reduce opioid use, this is nonsense. So I don't ask you, I beg you, as a member of this community, do not pass this law, okay? What's the rush? Why don't we wait and see 20 years from now if the problem in Colorado is as bad as Vancouver? Why don't we wait? Why do we have to jump off a cliff because all our friends are jumping off a cliff? Okay? Does anybody have a question or comment for me?
No, thank you for your comments. You can go ahead and turn off your mic. However, I do have to clarify a couple of things that you stated. So one is that there is an opioid crisis in the U.S. Now, there's no evidence to show that that opioid crisis is connected to cannabis. As a matter of fact, sir, please, let me finish. As a matter of fact, the data is showing otherwise. In states that have legalized cannabis, let me finish. In states that have legalized cannabis, those states have shown a reduction in opioid use. Please remain civil. Please remain civil in this discussion, Mr. Zerzan. All right, in addition to that, you're also using some other statistics, which I've read that same report about the fatalities, right? There is no increase in fatal car accidents, however, in that state. The fatal car accidents didn't go up. Now, what that report showed was that there was THC found in people that were in those fatal car accidents. However, they did not parse out which ones had alcohol. Most of those fatal car accidents involved alcohol and THC. So they were actually under the influence of alcohol when they got into a car accident. It's just they began testing for THC after they made it legal. They began to test more stringently for THC, whereas in the past they would just test for the alcohol. And now they're testing for THC. So they're finding both in the system. That report doesn't parse out the two. In addition to that, with the ongoing opioid crisis, again, it's spread out throughout the U.S., and the data is showing that states that have legalized cannabis have shown reductions in opioid use and abuse. And please, hemp is a separate topic. That's not what this bill is about. So with that, I just wanted to clarify those few things, and thank you very much. We will move on now to the next person. Sir, that is uncalled for. That is completely uncalled for, and that is false. Please remove Mr. Zerzan. He's not discussing this in a civil manner. I believe Mr. Zerzan has a personal vendetta against me, and so... Let's please keep this discussion civil, ladies and gentlemen. That's uncalled for, and if anything, it shows perhaps he is under the influence of something that is causing him to act out.